I've got a fun cash flow shortfall, this quarter coming up for one of my Landfill Group businesses, because like it's in a lull. And that's okay, right? Like, I mean, literally got to fund payroll because it's not generating enough cash flow to do what it needs to do on its own. And we know what it's capable of doing, and we've got the right people there to do it. And that's the right decision. Keep funding it, because when the next thing hits, it will pay for itself. And is it immediate? No, but we've got to have patience, in these times. And it's like, and does it ever feel good to have to do that as a business owner? Like, no, right? Like I got that. I literally got the email last night, like, hey, we're going to be, a couple $100,000 short. We're getting a capital call. It's like, oh, okay, well, here we go. Right. I mean, and that's that loose grip thing. Like as long as we're making good decisions, the Lord will provide. And I've also accepted that if that means like we end up going a different path for some reason, that's okay too.
This episode is brought to you by 10X Nerds. If you're a business owner doing real revenue, there's a good chance you're overpaying in areas you haven't even looked at. Things like credit card processing, insurance, telecom, and more. 10X Nerds comes in, audits your expenses across 30 plus categories, and finds immediate savings. And here's the kicker. They only get paid if they save you money. It's a complete no-brainer. If you want to keep more of what you make, go check them out at 10xnerds.com. This episode is brought to you by Rakowski Law Firm. If you're a business owner or have built a level of wealth, but you don't have your estate plan dialed in, you're exposed. Rakowski Law Firm helps families and business owners protect their assets, avoid probate, and make sure everything transfers exactly how it should. This isn't just paperwork, it's a real strategy to protect your legacy. If you haven't looked at your plan in a while or don't have one, go to rakowskilawfirm.com. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Big Hitters Podcast. I'm joined by William Brinker. William is a friend of mine from Rise Up Kings. I haven't had a Ruck guy on in a minute, but William's been on my radar for a while because he's a serial guy. He's got multiple companies, including the Landfill Group, which I'm excited to pick his brain on. And he's just an all-around stud. So I'm excited to kind of hear about everything he's doing. William, just tell us, let's start with this. Tell us about the various businesses that you do have.
We're going to need more time in an org chart. I don't know. And that would be cool if we could actually flash an org chart up on this podcast. Have been a serial entrepreneur since I was a little kid, selling my dad's used salesman samples, and cutting lawns and everything else. And now in real life, I help operate and I'll say manage a lot of different companies in several different sectors, predominantly under 3 themes.
This episode is brought to you by Blue Collar Business Advisors. If you're running an HVAC, plumbing, electrical, or landscaping, or any other type of home service business and wondering where all the money is going despite growing your revenue, you need to talk to Paul Maskill. Paul has scaled and sold multiple blue-collar businesses and now helps business owners improve cash flow, profitability, and financial clarity through outsourced CFO services. His clients gain a better understanding of their numbers, build predictable profits, and create a business that supports the life they actually want. One of the things I appreciate most about Paul is he's not just a finance guy. He's been in the trenches as an owner. He understands the challenges of running blue-collar businesses because he's done it himself. If you're doing a few $1,000,000 a year in revenue and want to stop guessing at your numbers and start building real wealth, head over to bluecollaradvisors.com. That's thebluecollaradvisors.com and schedule a discovery call with Paul and his team. Blue Collar Business Advisors, helping blue-collar business owners build financially healthy companies and achieve permanent profitability. This episode is brought to you by Corberry Digital. If you own an HVAC, plumbing, electrical, roofing, or home service business and you're tired of wondering where your next lead is coming from, you need to check out Corberry Digital. Corberry specializes exclusively in helping home service companies dominate their local markets through SEO, Google Ads, local service ads, websites, content marketing, and lead generation systems that actually produce a measurable ROI. Their team doesn't just focus on clicks and impressions. They help contractors lower customer acquisition costs, increase qualified leads, and build a marketing engine that scales. What I like about Corberry is they understand the blue collar space. They aren't trying to be everything to everyone. Their entire focus is helping trades businesses win in their backyard, and generate more profitable jobs. If you're looking to grow your business, improve your online visibility, and build a marketing system that works, visit coreberry.com and schedule a strategy session with their team. That's coreberry.com. Tell them you heard about them on the podcast.
So I'll start with, these aren't I guess maybe in any real importance. But I'll start with the one that pays the bills the best, and then maybe work my way down. And so that would be the Landfill Group, which you mentioned. And we formed the Landfill Group name, I think technically in 2006, because nobody could spell Interdyne, which has been around since 1991. And you'd be surprised at how many people can't spell landfill. That's Landfill, group, group.com, landfield, and all kinds of things. And in the Landfill Group, it is a company of many companies. And I'll kind of walk through what that looks like at a super high level. So we have a development company that puts bookends together, right? And we're in the landfill gas to energy space. So we actually aren't in the waste industry like Waste Management or Republic or your local municipal landfill. But what we do is we go into landfills, we drill gas extraction wells, collect the gas that is inevitably going to be generated from decomposing garbage, and are able to harness that and utilize it as an alternative energy source in a number of different ways. We can create power, biofuel, we can directly commingle it with natural gas. We can clean it up and put it into a natural gas system so we can meet pipeline quality specifications. For the most part, if you can use it, if natural gas can be used, we can use landfill gas. At a super high level, landfill gas is about 50% methane and natural gas is 100% methane. That's a little bit overly simplified. So in theory, right, I need 2 units of landfill gas to generate 1 unit of natural gas. And
so wait a sec. So there's a landfill here in Denver by the airport. And what do? You just like set up some ventilators and suck the air out, or like, how does that work?
So again, it's not air. I'm extracting landfill gas. Ideally, we don't want to extract air, right? Because I'd be pulling air into the landfill, and air doesn't have any heating value, right? So energy is created in a number of different ways, but ultimately what you need is that, you need some heat value to generate the power.
This episode is brought to you by my friend Silas Lagoy over at ForgeMark Wealth. If you're a high-income business owner or professional and feel like you're getting crushed by taxes, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not stuck. ForgeMark Wealth specializes in advanced legal tax strategies and wealth planning designed to help you keep more of what you make, grow it efficiently, and actually build long-term freedom, not just income. If you're making serious money but don't have a real strategy behind it yet, I highly recommend connecting with Silas and his team. What's up, everybody? This episode is sponsored by ExitWise. If you're a business owner thinking about selling your company, whether that's now or years down the road, you need to know what your business is actually worth and how to maximize that exit. That's exactly what ExitWise does. They help you prepare, position, and ultimately sell your business by assembling a world-class team of M&A experts around you, guiding you from valuation all the way through closing. If you want to know what your business is really worth and how to increase that number before you sell, go check out exitwise.com and get ahead of it.
So, like in landfill gas is about 50% methane, 45% CO2, and 5% other things, nitrogen, oxygen, a whole bunch of enes and anes. And it's inevitable. As trash decomposes, it's going to generate gas. Methane is a greenhouse gas. Methane is what you get the heating value from. And that's what we can do. We effectively turn trash into power, the decomposing byproduct of trash.
That's so cool.
Energy. The way that
millions off of garbage. I love that.
Well, that's what we say. You're always going to have trash and you're always going to need power, right? Like the average American generates something like 7 pounds of garbage a day. Think about all the Amazon boxes that roll up at everybody's doorstep every day. And then all the packaging, you pull out the stuffers and then something's in a wrapper and you pull out that wrapper and, we're in a consumerism economy and all of that trash goes somewhere. And it's actually a commodity that people, I think, take for granted, right? Like, hey, when I flip the light switch on, right, power comes on. When I turn the faucet on, water comes out, right? Well, like we generate trash every single day. I bet you've used your trash can 4 times today subconsciously, right?
Yeah.
Garbage, boom, here we go. And that's, I mean, I'll say the waste managements of the world, right? The landfills, like the one that's outside of Denver. I know the landfill very well. It's a big mountain of garbage. And as that mountain, starts to get rain and snowfall and everything else in it, that garbage starts to break down and decompose. And as it decomposes, it's going to off gas. So like if you see it like steaming, or if you've ever, left your home and gone on vacation and forgotten to take out the garbage, and you open that trash can and it stinks, like that's decomposing garbage, and it generates methane, and that's what we capture. And it's a greenhouse gas. So EPA deems that just by flaring it, which looks like you're burning something in a giant Olympic torch, it's 98% better than its natural release. So like we're doing something incredibly environmentally friendly by collecting the gas. And I'll say just flaring it, torching it. But why flare it if you can use it? And so ultimately, that's what we try to do, is utilize landfill gas as an alternative energy source.
This episode is brought to you by Jonathan Keim and the teams at 360 Commercial Roofing and Top Roof Marketing. If you own or manage commercial property, or you're a roofing contractor looking to grow, Jonathan has spent more than a decade helping businesses protect their buildings and scale through proven commercial roofing and marketing systems. His companies specialize in commercial roofing solutions, roof asset management, and marketing built specifically for the roofing industry. Whether you need a trusted commercial roofing partner or want to generate more qualified roofing leads, check out 360 Commercial Roofing or Top Roof Marketing. You can go to www.360, like 360, commercialroofing.com, and Top Roof Marketing, www.toproofmarketing.com.
So timeline wise, and where I was headed with like the companies. So we have a development company that puts the bookends together. We get a long-term gas rights agreement, we get a long-term offtake agreement, and then we help facilitate everything in between: design, engineering, procurement, financing, right? Build the asset. Typically, each one of those assets is its own special purpose entity. So we form a company that is going to own those bookend contracts. The financing of all the permitting, everything will be in that special purpose entity's name. And as the developer, we make everything happen in between. So my father actually started that original company in 1991. And I can give you more backdrop as to how he got into it if that's of interest and we have time. Because he was a countertop salesman before that. And then in 2006, we formed our construction division called Advance One. And so we actually are the general contractors that go in and drill the gas extraction wells, put in all the piping that connects this network of wells, brings it to that central location where it can be utilized. The first time I almost went bankrupt was in 2008. And that's actually how we got into the fabrication business. So officially we branded that division in 2012, but really since 2008, we've been making all of our own custom biogas treating equipment under a company called Advanced Biogas Systems. So we think about like a big metal fabricator, oil and gas. Like if you've ever watched Landman and you see these rigs and stuff, that's kind of what to picture.
Which side note was too raunchy for me, too much skin. So but I know the show and I like Billy Bob Thornton. So
yeah. And then so that timeline, and then in 2022 we officially branded our engineering division, which is called J Biogas Engineering, and we provide all the engineering services. So as it relates to like a landfill gas to energy project, we literally do everything from A to Z, kind of under one roof, the Landfill Group. But have these, I'll say siloed businesses or disciplines that support every aspect of project development and operations. So like an Interdyne that does development is also our operator. So we hire the technicians that tune the gas wells, that run the gas plants, provide all the environmental health and safety, compliance, the accounting and admin, like all the back end functions that are needed to run each one of these assets, I'll say independently or kind of as a collective set of companies, right? So that's like all
Yeah.
these special purpose entities.
Yeah. I was curious to double click on when you almost went bankrupt, because it's interesting. We don't tend to be vulnerable with like difficult seasons. So I'm always curious to hear about like potential failures, almost, loss, relational problems. Like talk to us what was happening around that time.
Oh man. Man, if I could count how many times I feel like I almost went bankrupt, we need to schedule a couple more hours. No, I mean, it's a high risk business. And my father got into the game in 91 because my uncle was a geologist and had a drill rig. A landfill, a building, a maintenance building was built on a landfill just outside of Raleigh, North Carolina, which is close to where we're from and where my uncle lived. And the maintenance technicians went in and turned the lights on, and there was a spark created with that. With that flip of the switch, the gas, landfill gas, had filled the building, and poof, it blew up. So kind of over at Thanksgiving dinner, my dad got curious about this. Him and my uncle went into business. They started an early company in like 89 or 90. And my uncle ultimately realized like, hey, I like to play with rocks, and dirt, and trash is gross. So he wanted out. My dad saw the opportunity and came in and built up a lot of projects. He was a super early adopter in this space, and some of the early on projects. And really he got kind of out over his skis in in the early 2000s, like 2004, 5. And one of our industry allies, a company called Detroit Edison, they're actually Detroit's largest utility, kind of absorbed the vast majority of his assets. And I'll say that's the first time that I'll say my dad or the family, I'll say was saved from going under, right? Like lots of millions of dollars debt, and, things were needed. And then kind of through that process, I was actually still in college, and I started working in landfills when I was 12 or 13, maybe 14 years old, 1998, learning like the trades. And my parents convinced me to go to college. I didn't think I wanted to go to college. I just wanted to do construction. But did. Then in 2005 is when that transaction happened. I graduated college in 2006, and I came out and I started a construction company because I couldn't actually compete under the non-compete that my father was in, and provided construction services for Detroit Edison and for other folks. So in 2007 / early 2008, I bid on like a construction project, drilling gas wells, putting in this high density polyethylene pipe in various sizes. The big network is the gas system. So that's how we extract the gas. And under Advance One, which was our construction division. And my dad, I love him, God bless his soul. He is still alive. But he, right before the bid, he gave me a number, for the flare station for that giant Olympic torch. And he said, $200,000. It's a safe number. I trusted him. No reason not to trust him. And got my bid submitted. And whenever this is back when you used to like go and they'd rip open all the bids and you'd like hear where you came in. Well, like I came in by a long shot, and when you come in and you underbid something, right, by a long shot, that's usually a bad day. And you compare bids, right? And as I compared the bids, I was dead on every single number, with the exception of that flare station. And I had
So
bidded it.
wait a sec, but don't you, and this is, Monday morning quarterback stuff. Can't you like be like, oh crap, I need to revise my bid, but because you're not like committing to anything when you bid on something.
No, this is a municipal bid. You have to post bond, like a bid bond and a performance bond. Like you say, hey, if I'm bidding this, and if I'm going to do this work, like it's backed by a surety.
Yeah.
That's a step that I maybe missed, right? So I think, I think it maybe relates. So again, I'll say my dad kind of got bailed out by Detroit Edison in 2005. We as a family, we didn't grow up with a ton. Like I actually, in 2019, maybe we'll get there at some point, I realized that I've had everything that I've always wanted, and that I had everything that I needed as a kid. What we didn't have was extra income. Like, my dad was, shoestringing to build projects, maxing out every credit card, mortgaging the house, getting everybody he could to float bills, and doing good work, and being an innovator. But like, man, we didn't grow up with much. And, my mom got to live that life for a long time, where it's like, how are we going to make the next rent payment? How am I going to pay for groceries? And I'm one of 6 kids. Same mom and dad, not Mormon or Catholic. We grew up in the Methodist church. We'd say hello to you at the liquor store.
We'd say hello. That's a new one.
But yeah, so and I'm 22 years old or something, fresh out of college, don't have a pot to pee in either. And I'm bidding on this project, and I had to have my mom and dad co-sign all of the bonding documents. So so now I'm apparent low bidder. And I say apparent low bidder, like I was the low bidder by several $100,000 on what I bid at just under $1 million job. So missing by a couple $100,000 is all the margin and then some. Literally dead in the water on go. And
at what point did you realize you had effed up?
Right there when I was there for the public
when they opened everything. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it was like, whew, the next closest person to me was like $400,000 higher,
Yeah.
And again, I bid it at $1 million. The next person's at 1.4, the next person's at 1.8. I mean, it was a bigness, and I'm like early, this is like, really early on in my career. So it's not like there's no nest egg. There was no, yeah. In any event, my dad is also very innovative and has been in the industry for a long time. And he said, hey, he talked to the engineer of record that was representing that county and said, if we can build this thing and meet specification, we allow us to build it. And they said, yes. So we scrounged up the materials and we literally built a blower flare station in a field on my grandfather's farm with some hired help and, a lot of me with a sandblaster and just doing it. Right. I mean, these things aren't that complicated. We bought a control panel from somebody else that could provide that to us at the time. And, we cobbled together a piece of equipment that met specifications. And this is a long story, so I'm going to try to shorten it up. We met specification, ended up making money on the project. Didn't make much money on that skid. Didn't make any money on that skid, but I proved that I could build it for about half of what the market could build it for. And then, fast forward even just a year from there, we ended up becoming the developer of the project. That project won the EPA's 2008 Power Project of the Year award. We put in 2 3520 CAT generators. Landfill gas goes into the engine. The engine creates electricity. We sold electricity back to the utility. And we just decommissioned that project maybe in late 2024. It might have even been last year in 2025. So it had a nice long run cycle. That piece of equipment that we built on my grandfather's farm is still operational today. So from that point going forward, we realized, man, why are we going to buy equipment, from when we can build it ourselves? And we moved from, I'll say from a field to another spot in the field, to a bay in a barn, to a bay in a garage, to having our whole garage, to a nicer facility that we were in for a couple of years. And then in September of 2025, we got absolutely smashed by Hurricane Helene. And my fab shop was actually wiped off planet Earth. Took 17 feet of water. We lost everything inside of it. We're now into a new facility. It's 4 times as big, going on almost 2 years later, 1.5 years later, and are finally spun back up and running. And, but yeah, that whole, it's been a huge wave of that's just one of them. Right. So, man, I could tell you war story after war story.
That tends to do best for podcasts. Honestly, man, the guys that have $100 million enterprises telling stories of how they effed up actually is kind of the most interesting stuff, man. Yeah.
I mean, it's a good space. We're a company we're a family company. I'm super blessed to with how we're able to manage the business, take care of people. We've been running the entrepreneurial operating system inside of the Landfill Group business for about a decade now. And I know Barry was on one of your podcasts. His buddy Mike is one of my best hunting buddies. I'm sorry, his brother. I don't think it's his buddy. His brother Mike Barrett is one of my best hunting buddies. We've literally hunted all over the world together, and so I know he's an EOS implementer. So folks can go back and listen to Barry's podcast to learn more about it. But it's a process that really works. You focus first on the people side of things, values, vision, mission. And, if you can get that right, I'll say everything else falls in line. It's not easy, but it's a good North Star to point to. So, we're not afraid to lead with the chin, man. We made lots of mistakes. I mean, I probably made the biggest mistake I've made in my career from a dollar standpoint, last year. I'll say we've historically built projects a certain way. And since 2017-ish, we've been building these renewable natural gas plants, right? Where we take all of the methane out of the landfill gas to where we just have methane, and then we make it into pipeline quality and we put it right back into the natural gas system. Because once it's into the natural gas system, I can technically pull it out anywhere in the country, arguably anywhere in the world. And use it in its highest and best use. So we have a certain way that we do that. And I've got a very large landfill that's had some challenges with, I'll say, how we operate and they operate. And my standard process just isn't working the way that it does elsewhere. And there is a piece of equipment that can be put in to mitigate that, like, operational deficiency. And we knew we were going to have some challenges, but man, I'll say we felt super confident. We've done this so many times that, like, our process will work. And we are running and producing gas right now. So, but it's about a $10 to $12 million capital expenditure miss that we're now spending. It'll be September of this year before I'm able to install that equipment. And I've been operating since last April, right? So, and not at full capacity because, we're losing millions of dollars of revenue on that particular asset because we can't run at full efficiency. And I had to spend that, we're going to make a 10 to 12 million to get it right. And I'm having to truck the gas further away. It's a big miss. The blessing in it, right, is one, I don't have a boat anchor. Like, we're still running. It's not like I've got a $50 million asset that's just sitting there not running. It is running.
Yeah.
So we're able to defray cost and minimize that expense. We're now doing a virtual pipeline, which is where you put the gas into a truck and then you move it to another location, which isn't really conventional. And it's something that we historically have not been able, or we've avoided. Like, we'll go point to point. But yeah, man, big miss, man. So we make mistakes. I make mistakes. I'll say not every day, but every year. And sometimes they can be big, and they're always unintentional. Like, clearly, I say, nobody make a mistake intentional. Of
all of your enterprises, Will, what is the thing you're most proud of or most excited about?
Are we talking about this particular group of businesses?
No, it's just whatever. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm already of the mindset we're going to need to schedule another time to have you back on here because we're not going to be able to hit it all one day. So I was just curious to get a quick hit. Like, what business right now are you most excited or most proud of that something really cool is happening?
I'm going to answer it in a bunch of different ways for you. So I want to stick on theme with the Landfill Group. I'm super proud of the Landfill Group and our resiliency, and our ability truly to adapt. In the example that I just gave you, because it's one of the most recent examples of a miss. We probably could have hit a home run on this project, but at least we got on base. We didn't strike out. Right? We're still in the game, and there were a lot of things that had to come together to make that happen. and we figure it out. I feel like that's like a unique ability we have with our team, is that like when we get hit with adversity, we figure it out. We always do. Like this is we're 35 years in business now. I don't know that there's any other company, if there is in the landfill gas to energy space, it's definitely less than a handful across the entire world, not just the US, that have been in this game under one name that are still family owned and operated for 35 years. And it's because we're nimble and we're resilient and we can weather storms, and we can survive and we can thrive. And that's just really special. And I think it's because we have great people, and we have great people because we take care of our people, because that's, I think, the most fundamental thing in business. You take care of people, people will generally take care of you. Every now and again, there can be a bad apple, but they're few and far between. If you pick right, so, a whole nother set of businesses that I've got are called the Speckled Trout. So we've got the Speckled Trout, eat, play, stay.
Okay. Yeah. I wanted to ask you about this. I'm excited we're talking about it.
Yeah. And, so it's a restaurant, a guide and outfitting service. So we've got 2 retail locations, like in my hometown, or hometowns, if you will. They're like 10 miles apart. So we've got retail, predominantly fly fishing.
Which is where, by the way, you're in North Carolina, right?
Yeah, I'm in the mountains in North Carolina. Yeah, Boone, Blown Rock area.
Nice.
And most of my business, like I'll say the core, like some of the Landfill Group stuff is here, but we also have, we operate energy assets all over the country. But the Speckled Trout, the restaurant's in Blowing Rock. We have 1 outfitter store in Boone, 1 in Blowing Rock. And then we've got a boutique hotel in Damascus, Virginia. It's called the Speckled Trout Outpost. And so that's kind of like the Speckled Trout umbrella, is eat, play, stay. I mentioned earlier, just when we were talking about EOS and Barry's brother, Mike, man, that is like a huge passion of mine, is the outdoors, man, hunting, fishing and camping and anything that I can do to be outside. Unfortunately, I spend most of my time in front of a computer or in meetings, on the phone. I do get to spend a lot of time though, enjoying the outdoors. So like, what is like the most fun for me? Like, man, it's being on the bow of a boat, slinging a fly rod, or wading a stream, or pursuing some animal somewhere. But really, I say from an entrepreneurial standpoint, it's being able to create things and inspire people and share and learn and teach and grow. Like that is what I'm built for. It is to love people, to inspire people, and to give. And I've finally figured out how to do those in my roles across these organizations. Like that's what fuels me. And it doesn't matter if it's troubleshooting a landfill gas issue or trying to figure out how to sell another hat, right? Like it's how can I do that with people? And just I wake up fueled every day. And the Rise Up Kings experience has been huge for me. So
I was going to ask you, I was trying to get a soundbite for those guys. Tell me how that's impacted your life and business.
Yeah. It's just beautiful what they do. So, I went because of a hunting buddy of mine. Actually, Mike went too. Mike Barrett, Barry's brother, went to Rise Up Kings. Another one of our buddies, who's a common thread, his name's Eric Sternberg, did Rise Up Kings, and he was just like, Will, he's like, I know you kind of seem to have all your stuff together. I really think that you would love it and benefit from it. And as an avid learner, I'm like, man, let's go. It took me about a year to get it in the calendar. Not because I didn't want to do it. It's just I reschedule pretty far out, especially for week-long events. Yeah. And man, it's been huge. The brotherhood there is amazing. Actually, this past Thursday, which was May 6th, me and another brother that I went through Forge with, Todd Akins, just hosted over 100 men. Coach Matt Mondavera, one of the leaders from a group called the Sentinel Foundation.
I was just in Charlotte. Todd was in my pod, and he was telling me how pumped he was about that event that you guys just had Matt in for. We just did an Ignite here in Denver. And then you guys have one coming up in July. So I'm actually going to try to feed you some dudes for that one. So
yeah, man, please do. So yeah, it's huge. You know, the framework, the 4-pillar framework, I'm super bought into. Like I choose to operate in a disciplined framework. Because like in America, you know, and now that I have means, you know, I know I put a glimpse and I didn't have means growing up. So for a long, long time, man, I was hustling. I was chasing a dollar. And one of the things, you know, we talked about it in my men's group this morning. I also do something called F3, which is called, stands for Fitness, Faith, and Fellowship. Been doing it since 2011.
What's your nickname?
I'm Armor.
Armor? Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, born in Charlotte, 2011. And to help start our chapter here in Boone, which we just celebrated 9 years last month. So where am I headed with this? Lost train of thought. Men's group.
We were talking about around stuff,
right? Like less is more. You know, money doesn't buy happiness. You know, and living in, you know, modern day America, like you can just have whatever you want, kind of whenever, right? Like I could, you know, order a computer or 7 different things for lunch right now, and they just show up. I could have slept in this morning. I chose to wake up at 4 a.m. So that I could do my reading and my journaling, and then go cue our workout at 5 a.m., which is from 5 to 6, so that I can then go join our men's group from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. so that I can then be home to still be able to get my kids to school before 7:45, right? So it's like, man, like I got a lot that I want to accomplish, and I can accomplish a whole lot for me personally in the morning, you know, to get right with God, to get right with myself, to get good with my family and my wife before the day starts. And like F3 and Rise Up Kings, because that's something that I'm trying to like sync up. It's been hugely impactful in my life for creating that discipline when I could have just fart sacked, which is what in F3 we call it whenever you sleep in, you know? Yeah.
Well, I'd love to actually pause here and schedule another time for you to come on, because I know you're hard to pin down, but I'd love to do some more recording.
Sure.
Yeah, if we could. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And knowing that we can do calls and stuff from the car, that might be easier too. You
can. I have had, because I do a lot of contractors and builders, and dude, stuff goes sideways on them all the time. So I have done some. It's best if dude, just get some Starlink. Do you have Starlink for just personally?
I do have Starlinks. I do not have one in my truck.
I would do that. If you wanted to work and play at the same time, I'd be running my Zoom calls while I'm out fly fishing, you know, just using Starlink.
Boy, you get me on fly fishing? Like we should do a whole podcast on fly fishing.
I'm in. Yeah. Do you know Walker Ham by chance? Is there a way that you would know Walker Ham? He's an F3 guy. He's like one of the chapter leaders in Cornelius. But I was actually just texting with him. I used to work at a company called Financial Independence Group in Cornelius, and half of those guys, there's probably 200 people in the company. Like I swear half of them went to App State, and half of the half do F3. And so I was like, what are the chances that my buddy Walker, who's like a big F3 guy? And yeah.
In Boone?
Well, he went to App State, so he has a cabin in Boone.
Okay. We get a lot of visitors because this is a beautiful place to be.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I know Walker. That doesn't mean that I don't know Walker. But oftentimes, right, we go by our code names, and you're so tired after a beatdown that you don't always catch it.
Yeah.
But that'd be fun. I'd love to do a whole podcast on fly fishing.
Let's do it. Yeah.
We do destination travel all over the world. My next stop is at the end of the month to Baja to catch rooster fish on the fly.
Wow.
So, I'll never stop talking about fly fishing.
Do you have another hour in the next 3 to 4 weeks? I know you're super slammed.
Give me just a second. I closed that off.
I'm actually at Ruck next week volunteering. I like to go once a quarter to get a shot in the arm.
what's the what's going on? An awakening, a refinery, a revival?
Refinery. Yeah. Refinery.
Give me just a second. My Outlook's opening back up.
Will, have you ever heard of some? This is, I just, as I listen, I'm like, man, this guy would be a good fit for this guy that I work with. Have you ever heard of something called premium finance? Are you familiar with this concept?
I don't think so.
Okay. You would certainly qualify for it. And the reason I was just thinking about it is because I have one of my podcast sponsors. He's like the godfather of premium finance, and it's a life insurance strategy that only works if you're high net worth and high income. And basically, a bank will fund the premiums on your life insurance policy, which ultimately creates a tax-free asset out of thin air. People either love or hate permanent life insurance. It's either the spawn of Satan or it's amazing. There's no in between. Um, I believe it's an incredibly powerful wealth accumulation and transfer tool. But dude, he would be a good person to talk to, because when you get to where you're at, like protecting, preserving, and transferring it well, that's what he could be helpful with.
Yeah, it's like a captive insurance policy.
It's a permanent life insurance policy where you own the cash value, but someone else is funding the premiums on it for you because you have enough money and assets.
Yeah. So I'll say, unfortunately, we got really burned by someone doing that.
Oh, really?
I'll say who was one of my dad's best friends. He still owes us a lot of money, and I think is facing jail time. Not that we press charges, but he did this to a lot of people.
Damn.
So I'm going to be a tough sell on that one because I got a real bad taste in my mouth over this deal. And I'll say these are the things that I don't like to do, right? So when you say, hey, well, like what's fun and what's proud, when it comes to all money things, like I truly, I view money as a tool now. And I do want to be able to pass my tool chest along to my kids and to other great stewards in this world. Now that I actually have some tools that I can pass along. Knock on wood, if I don't lose them first. I got a lot of irons in the fire. But I've got a team that deals with this, right? So like estate people and financial advisors and stuff. And when things like this come up, I'm like, hey, this is great. Y'all talk about it. Like I couldn't tell you, good or bad, a single stock that I own, other than my business, right? Like when I look at this, what is my biggest asset? It's what I do, in life. And I make money and I put it into a stock market, which I've got people that make more money than most years I even pay myself. But they're good at what they do. I focus on what I do. If I do what I do well, I'm able to give them more money so they can do what they do well.
Yeah.
and then I don't think about it and I go fly fishing.
I love that. That's good, man. That's actually a good model for me, dude. I have to do my taxes right now, and it is such a bear.
Oh man, I can't. Like, yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, yeah. Phew. You want to see the most grotesque tax return? Well, I say on the planet, it's not. There's people that have stuff way more complex than me. But I think, like, if you look at all the org charts in these different companies, and I haven't even gotten into the real estate business. I mean, there's like 50 of them. Maybe not quite 50, but close. And like how all that feeds up, it's like, man, I don't want to mess with any of that. Let me know where I have to sign.
Yeah. Do you have a good tax strategist who's like saving you a ton of money on tax stuff?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel like I do. Like, yeah. I mean, so I'll say a lot of years, it's like, man, I would have thought, like, why do I have to pay all this money this year? And then like this year was like great. It was like, oh, that's it. And I thought it was going to be a lot more because we had a deal that sold last January. And anyways, yeah. So it's one of those things where like, yes, I think I've surrounded myself with a team of advisors and they all talk about this stuff. Like I'll say all the time. Like I actually just scheduled one with my, for early August. Because we get together and we look and we update plans and, things are always moving and dynamic, that it's, what was relevant 6 months ago might not actually be relevant today, depending on tax code, and we're still getting clarity on the big and beautiful bill. Like, certain things that I can pick out of that are like, hey, maybe we like it is time to do a cost segregation on this property because yeah. So like I'm informed enough to know what I need to know.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Big Hitters podcast. In our first portion with William Brinker of the Landfill Group, we started kind of talking through his experience with some of his businesses around the Landfill Group, some of the mistakes he's made, the ways he's developed it and kind of pushed through. And we didn't get to talk about some of his more hobby and fun related businesses. He's really passionate about fly fishing. You have a restaurant, right, William? Yeah, go ahead.
No, happy to. So we have a group of businesses, the Speckled Trout, and we have coined it Eat, Play, Stay. So you'll see the Speckled Trout, kind of our umbrella brand, and you'll see Eat, Play, Stay. And, from that, I think it's thespeckedtrout.com. Or you can go to eat-play-stay.com, and it kind of takes you to that whole like affiliation of businesses, which are also originally started with a restaurant and a bottle shop. That my wife and my brother's wife predominantly manage. And it's here in the high country, mountains in North Carolina, Blowing Rock, North Carolina. Really amazing place, great regional fare, amazing cocktail program, beer program. We actually just did a menu changeover last night. So changed the menu 3 times a year. And it's a lot of fun. Also comes with a lot of stresses and challenges. Like all business can be difficult. Restaurant business is definitely, I'll say, one of the more difficult businesses out there. A lot of transient staff, being in a university town, and it's just a stepping stone for a lot of folks. Andrew, did you ever work in a restaurant?
No, I never have. Well, one of my first jobs, I worked at a beach club. I was the snack bar, and I made burgers and stuff. But that's the closest I've been to it. I worked at a deli when I was in high school. Yeah,
those are restaurants.
Yeah.
I mean, you get like, hey, I got to make food. I've got to make customers happy. It's a service business. I'm guessing that at each of those respective locations, you saw a lot of people come and go. It's just kind of the nature of the business. You're dealing with the general population every single day. You never know who's going to walk in the door. One of the blessed things about, our small town is we do know a lot of people that walk in the door. Because we have a lot of regulars in a small town. We're it's like Cheers, everybody knows your name. And then we get, tens of thousands of visitors on beautiful weekends like we've got now. The second business is the Speckled Trout Outfitters. So we have 2 retail locations. So we sell merchandise, like all the apparel that I'm wearing right now. Fly rods, conventional rods, reels, knives. They're I'll say boutique outdoor stores. A lot of fun. We do guided trips. So we take local trips, people fishing in Virginia, Tennessee, and North Carolina, where we are. We're like right kind of in the triangle part of those 3 states. And we do guided hiking and guided hunting. We also have a destination travel program. So super blessed to take people all over the world. I just got back from Baja, fly fishing for rooster fish and mahi. Catching a 40 or 50 pound mahi on a fly is a ride. So that's a lot of fun, but we go all over the place. Argentina, Cuba. We're actually kind of on a Cuba pause right this second.
I had never heard of a rooster fish. I just had to Google that really quickly.
You caught a rooster fish recently?
No, I've caught a mahi, but I'd never heard of a rooster fish. I just had to do a quick Google search on that.
Oh yeah, they're awesome, man. They're like velociraptors coming through the water.
Yeah, they look like it.
Yeah, off the bottom at like 100 miles an hour, and then like they're that rooster, like that fin, like comes off their back, and it literally looks like something is like an alien is trying to attack your fly. It is, it's really really fun, really really fun. Yeah, and then
keep going. Sorry.
So that's the Eat restaurant. The Play is the Outfitters, and then the Stay is we've got a couple of boutique hotels and Airbnbs where we're able to lodge guests and the just general public. So the boutique hotel is called the Speckled Trout Outpost. It's actually in Damascus, Virginia. Again, really close. It's about an hour from where our 2 retail stores are and the restaurant, and then It's right on the Virginia Creeper Trail and the Appalachian Trail. So we get a lot of thru hikers and a lot of people that come to bike and hike. The fishery in that area is also amazing. And so that's the Speckled Trout brand.
How much of your brain space gets divided between the different enterprises? I always wonder that with serial guys. Like, do you just have really good operators over each of those businesses? How do you manage all of it?
I actually have a really cool video that I've put together. Maybe we can figure out how to link to that because I get this question all the time. It's like, how do you keep up with all these things? And I have a system for how I do that is not complex. To answer your first question is, how do I divide up my time? It is it's super well organized, but it's very, I'll say, chaotic. I look at everything as commitments and commitment management. So like I have various commitments to each of these organizations. And whenever I say yes to doing something, it makes it into the calendar, it makes it to the list, and then I do it, and I block time in a calendar, which is just a way to create spatial awareness, right? We all have 24 hours in a day. Just how we use those 24 hours. And the fun thing I'll say about the seat or seats that I sit in across all these different companies is it varies. Like I do have some recurring calls and meetings, right, for these businesses, but for the most part, no 2 days are alike. So I'm just, I'm juggling. I got lots of balls in the air, and I've got lots of amazing teammates. And so that kind of goes back to the EOS process. In all these organizations, we run the entrepreneurial operating system. So, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Every company that I'm associated with, we run EOS. And
yeah, that seems to be a recipe for a lot of serial guys. They have some sort of system like EOS. That seems to be the most common one though. How much do you get to actually go and play with the Speckled Trout stuff? Like how often are you jetting off to Argentina and stuff like that? And then is it all friends and family that are kind of looking you guys up to go on the fishing expeditions? Or are you actually running ads and different types of marketing outreach to get people into the fold?
Yeah, so it's a mix of both. So first question is, how often do I get to do it? As often as possible. So I do have a beautiful wife, Erica, and 3 kids that are 14, 12, and 10. So got a lot going on the home front. Do my best to take my wife, my kids, or any combination of them with me on trips that I go to. So we hosted a trip to Baja just 2 weeks ago. I was one of the hosts. We had several people that I've never met before. I was able to take my daughter, Henley, who's 12. She caught her first rooster fish, which was awesome. Got to feel what a mahi felt like on the fly. And then there was a mix of some other, like I'll say, friends. My sister came, brought her boyfriend. So it's a mix. We do market though. So if you were to go to our website or Instagram and those things, like we've got, a full-time marketing director and team that are managing, those outreaches because, we want people to come and just experience adventure with us.
Yeah. What's next for all these businesses? Landfill Group, Speckled Trout. Where are you trying to take all of those over the next 3, 5, 10 years?
The short answer is, and I mean this in a super healthy way, as long as it aligns with our vision statements, it doesn't matter, right? So it's not about size or scale or growth. It's really about surrounding ourselves with good people. And as long as we're doing that, there might be 3 of us or there might be 300 of us, or 3,000, who knows? Like, if you had asked me 15 years ago, how many employees do you think you'd have right now? I don't know what I would have said. 10 or 15 years ago, 15 years ago, the Speckled Trout didn't even exist. The Speckled Trout organization employs over 100 people. Landfill Group's in the 100-ish range. When I started with it, we had 4. And I'll say we do continue to grow. And if we end up needing to retract, that's okay too. As long as we stay in alignment with who we are, the size doesn't matter.
Yeah. At this point in your life, are you more focused on building wealth, building people, or building impact?
I'd say for sure people and impact.
Yeah.
That's like a whole nother story I'd love to do. I didn't grow up with seemingly I didn't grow up with what felt like much. I'm one of 6 kids, same mom and dad. I was talking about to someone about this earlier today. Like I got hand-me-downs and never got a new baseball bat, or I was always wearing my brother's old cleats, and I always wanted more.
Yeah.
And I wanted the new Jordans that I couldn't have. I wanted things, and it was great. That did drive me to be an entrepreneur from a young age. I was always working, always hustling, trying to make money. I wanted to make money so that I could buy things. I got really good, I'll say, at making money, and I've got more things than anybody ever needs in 10 lifetimes. In 2019, I kind of had this realization through an experience that I went through prior to Rise Up Kings, where what I really learned from that experience, that immersion, was that I've always had what I've always wanted.
Mm.
And that is like really deep relationships. And I've got 6 siblings, or 5 other siblings. Like they're my best friends. I've got amazing parents. I've got the outdoors. My great grandfather bought a farm, which is really close to where I live. Like I can pretty much walk across the street to it. And man, that's what I need. God has always provided for me what I've always wanted. I chased money for a long time. And then all those age old adjectives, right? Like money doesn't buy happiness. Like it's real. Like, cool, I got new things. And I'll say that can be fun. But it's definitely not what I'm about anymore. It's definitely about kingdom impact, building people up, coaching people. I mean, that's like, again, part of the system. It's like, man, surround yourself with good people, build people up. If you
Yeah.
do that, and don't make it about money, Rise Up Kings talks about having a loose grip, specifically around money, and outcomes. Like you set your intentions in a solid direction, and the outcome is the outcome. And so that's definitely where I am in life. I really started to realize that in 2019. I did my first Rise Up Kings experience in January of 2025. So really not that long ago. And it just has helped amplify the awareness around those principles, and a lot of the biblical principles that support that, which has been super, super rewarding.
Yeah. Um, I'd love to just kind of hear how that has shaped the way you kind of run your companies. Like what in particular about the Rise Up King stuff has really shaped you as a business leader, family man? Like what's been the biggest transformation, I suppose?
Intentionality around the 4-pillar framework. I mean, I think it's a great framework. I mean, I've read, if I were to spin my camera around here and let you look at my bookshelf, like I've read so many books, and been doing leadership training and been part of business groups for nearly 20 years now. And it's really cool whenever you just start to see reoccurring threads,
Yeah.
there's nothing new created under the sun. The challenges that we're facing today are the same challenges that were being faced 1,000 years ago in a different form. And as an avid learner, and I'm like, I discern and I pull and put these pieces together. There's like a lot of overlap, and Rise Up Kings and the 4-pillar framework of faith, putting faith first, family next, your fitness third, and then finance is the 4th pillar, has helped me be super intentional about each of those categories and in that order.
Yeah.
While I've always had a strong faith, it was always the last one in my order. So like before my Rise Up Kings experience in 2025, so like for the first 40 years of my life, basically, I'm not gonna say it was always dead last, but it, for the most part, it was last. I've now put that first, and every single day I start by reading the Bible, praying, like kind of getting good with me and God to the best that I can, and sometimes like, man, it can feel empty. But I've gotten into a habit of no matter what, this is who I am, right? It's just become part of the identity and how I go about doing it. And so it's just reshifting those priorities. And I'd say for a lot of years, prior to 2019, the finance pillar is probably the one that I put first, right? I just had things out of order. I was chasing money, right? And it's like, well, like, okay. So yeah, hopefully I'm articulating that well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I always like to get a little soundbite for Rise Up Kings because it transformed my life. I had my whole suicide planned out before I went, so like a complete shift
Yeah.
and transformation. Yeah, but I heard from God. Like I'm not a crazy person that God speaks to me all the time, but it's like the time in the wilderness where we go pray and listen to God. Like He told me to shut that business down and to create freedom for business owners. It completely changed the trajectory of my life. So yeah, I'm all in on what they're doing. What's something that you've been thinking about or passionate about lately? We'll wrap with this question that you've been fired up about. I know you said you're reading a lot. I know you said you got all sorts of fun businesses that you're building. What's something that we haven't talked about over the last two kind of recordings that you've been kind of excited about recently?
So one of the things that I have begun merging is teaching and leadership with the adventure and experiences. So like I truly do like love the outdoors, love to go adventure, love to go explore new places, love to hunt and fish. And I love to learn, and I've learned a lot. I love to teach, and I love to learn and from other people and share. So we are starting to put together destination trips that are theme based. So currently on the books for Baja, it's just interesting that that's come up twice now. For Baja 2027, we're going to do, we're still doing that trip. It's a destination trip. But I've brought in a expert in sales and sales training, and he's kind of going to co-host, and we're trying to, market and bring people in that want to sharpen, their sales training skills. And I can see doing one like around EOS, where we bring in people that are interested in EOS or maybe have already implemented EOS and are looking for ways to kind of sharpen that sword. And you're not just going just to have fun, right? And do the activity. Like you're pairing that activity with education and learning, because I think that there's a lot to unlock there to be able to go deeper, right? Than just we're casting a line. Hey, remember we cast a line, we're going to talk about how to make, I'll say this finance or this learning principle even better in our lives. I really would like to do one around, kingdom and kingdom impact, potentially men creating, a biblical one. So that's where do I see the next 10 years of like my influence going? It's going to be that. It's going to be putting those things together, because that's what I'm feeling like I'm called to do right now.
It's so funny, man. I think about this a lot with the church. Like the church has become a very attractional model, but Jesus was always on the go, like literally moving with his disciples, and they slept in the same vicinity, always traveling. The lessons were on the go, man. They were never like, let's sit down. Like less than probably 15% of his ministry was like, let's all sit down and talk and have a big gathering and let me teach you from this gathering. The majority of it was on the move. And so I love that, man. I think that that's powerful, and I'm excited to hear about the fruit from that. Where can people go, William, to learn more about your businesses if they wanted to learn more?
The landfillgroup.com, the speckledtrout.com, the Speckled Trout, I'll say, and then any of the associated businesses, the Speckled Trout Outfitters, the Speckled Trout Restaurant and Bottle Shop, the Speckled Trout Outpost, or that Eat, Play, Stay, all kind of gets you to that group of businesses. On the Landfill Group page, again, it's a series of businesses, so it would take you to each of those individual ones: advanced1development.com, jbiogassystems.com, advancedbiogassystems.com, so interdynepowersystems.com. It's just a lot of different businesses. We try to get them clustered where you only have to go to one landing page to reach any particular one of them. And then we have, we're on LinkedIn and Instagram and all those things that I actually am not on. I get shown previews of what's going up from time to time, but that's an area that I just don't designate my time to, because it's like a death trap. I've done it and it's like, oh man, like where did that hour just go? Like I'm just scrolling.
Yeah. I didn't ask you this. You don't answer this however you feel comfortable. What is the size or scale of all of the enterprises if you group them together? Like however you feel comfortable answering that question.
I'd say you could ask a more direct question if you want. I'm probably comfortable asking any question.
What is the value of the portfolio of companies of William Brinker Enterprises? Like, what's the value?
I'll say it's like the stock market, right? Probably depends on the day. Realistically, I don't know, a couple $100 million.
Yeah, not small. You're not that's not a small fish. We're not catching minnows here. This is cool, man. It's really cool what you built, and it's cool that you've shifted, from the growing to the investing in people, building the kingdom, training. I think that's really cool. That's what I love about Rise Up Kings, man. I still feel like I'm in growth mode, but it's good to get around guys like you. It's a good reminder that you get to the top of the mountaintop, and it's really all that matters is like walk with God, faith, family, fitness, finances. That's it at the end of the day, regardless of the size or scope of the business stuff. So
and I'll say when you go to the top, because I felt like I'm at the top before too. Like there's always something higher. And there's always a pretty long way to fall. Like we ebb and flow as it relates to the businesses. So, I'm super transparent. I've got a fun cash flow shortfall, this quarter coming up for one of my Landfill Group businesses, because it's in a lull. And that's okay, right? Literally got to fund payroll because it's not generating enough cash flow to do what it needs to do on its own. And we know what it's capable of doing, and we've got the right people there to do it. And that's the right decision, right? Keep funding it, because when the next thing hits, it will pay for itself. And is it immediate? No, but we've got to have patience, in these times. And it's like, does it ever feel good to have to do that as a business owner? Like, no, right? Like I got that. I literally got the email last night, like, hey, we're going to be, a couple $100,000 short. We're getting a capital call. It's like, oh, okay, well, here we go, right? And that's that loose grip thing. Like as long as we're making good decisions, the Lord will provide. And I've also accepted that if that means like we end up going a different path for some reason, that's okay too. It really is. It really is.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been an honor. And then don't go anywhere because I want to keep talking, but thanks so much for coming on the show.